Australia is planning to cut its immigration intake by nearly 50%, and it's already happening. A country once known for opening its arms to skilled workers, international students, and families from across the globe is now tightening its borders like never before. But why the sudden change? What's really going on behind these new laws? Is Australia turning its back on immigrants, or is there something much deeper at play? From housing shortages to political pressure and even crackdowns on student visas, the reasons might shock you. And if you're thinking of moving to Australia or already living there, this could change everything. In this video, we'll break down the 10 biggest reasons why Australia might be closing the door on immigration and what that means for the future. Trust us, you'll want to see this through till the end, because the truth is far more complicated than it seems. Number 10. Shift toward regional development. One of the biggest shifts in Australia's new immigration policy is a strong push toward regional development, and this change is quietly reshaping the entire migration system. While major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane used to be the top destinations for international migrants, the government is now actively discouraging settlement in overcrowded urban areas. Instead, it's redirecting skilled migrants and international students to regional and remote parts of the country. But why this sudden change? The answer lies in the growing strain on infrastructure, rising housing costs, and local backlash in big cities. These areas are struggling to handle rapid population growth, while regional towns are desperate for skilled workers, healthcare professionals, and investment. So now visa pathways are being restructured to favour those willing to live, work, or study in less populated regions. In fact, many visa categories now offer priority processing, extra points, and even faster permanent residency, but only if you commit to staying in a regional area for several years. For some, this is an exciting opportunity. For others, it's a major limitation that could make migration much harder. So, if you're planning to move to Australia, you'll need to think differently. It's no longer just about getting into the country. It's about where you're willing to go and what lifestyle you're prepared to embrace. And here's the big question. Would you move to a remote town if it meant a better chance at residency? If you're finding this information helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on global immigration trends, student visa news, and migration strategies that could shape your future. Your next big decision might just start here. Number 9. Security concerns. In recent years, security concerns have become a driving force behind Australia's tougher stance on immigration. While public debates often focus on housing or jobs, there's a quieter but growing fear within government circles. National security. From rising global instability to the threat of human trafficking and visa fraud, officials are becoming increasingly cautious about who they allow into the country and why. The Department of Home Affairs has been vocal about the need for more thorough background checks, especially in light of international conflicts, cyber threats, and organised crime. As a result, visa processing times have significantly increased, with more applications undergoing deeper scrutiny. Authorities are particularly focused on ensuring that fake documentation, sham marriages, or bogus education enrollments don't slip through the cracks. Recent high-profile cases involving fraudulent student visa networks and exploitative labour practices have added fuel to the fire, prompting stricter policies and harsher penalties. These incidents have not only embarrassed the government, but have also raised questions about the integrity of the migration system as a whole. In addition, Australia is taking a stronger stance on border protection, investing in advanced surveillance technologies and expanding its biometric screening processes. Migrants from certain regions now face extra layers of verification, which can create frustrating delays, even for genuine applicants. All of this contributes to a growing sense that Australia is prioritising safety first over openness. While the vast majority of migrants pose no threat, the few that do have caused enough concern to shift the entire system toward a more defensive posture. So even if you meet all the requirements on paper, new layers of security protocol could become unexpected roadblocks. It's not just about qualifications anymore, it's about trust, traceability, and transparency in every part of your application. Number 8. Focus on skills-first migration. Australia's new immigration policy is making one thing very clear. Skills come first. Gone are the days when simply holding a student visa or applying through family sponsorship could give you a smooth path to permanent residency. Today, the system is laser-focused on attracting highly skilled professionals who can fill critical workforce gaps. and this shift is redefining who gets in and who gets left behind. The government has introduced a new skills in demand list, targeting sectors like healthcare, engineering, cybersecurity, agriculture, and renewable energy. If your profession isn't on that list, your chances of being prioritized for migration are dropping fast. On the other hand, if you have experience and qualifications in one of these areas, you may be fast-tracked for long-term visas or even permanent residency. This change isn't just about numbers, it's about value. Australia wants migrants who can contribute immediately, not just economically, but also in terms of innovation, sustainability, and national development. In short, the country is looking for problem solvers, not just job seekers. It also means that generic degrees or low-skilled job roles no longer carry the same weight. Many students are now discovering that their chosen fields don't align with the country's needs, leaving them stuck in limbo after graduation. Even businesses are being urged to hire locally unless they can prove the role requires specialised talent that can't be found within Australia. So, if you're planning to migrate, now is the time to strategically upskill. It's not just about entering the country anymore, it's about proving that you bring unique value to it. The message is clear. In today's Australia, your skills are your visa. Number 7, changing political climate. One of the most underrated yet powerful forces behind Australia's shifting immigration stance is the changing political climate. While immigration has historically been seen as a source of economic growth and cultural diversity, recent years have brought a noticeable shift in public sentiment, and politicians are taking notice. There's been a growing wave of anti-immigration rhetoric across parts of the political spectrum, driven by concerns over job competition, housing shortages, and cultural integration. Some political parties have seized on these issues to win votes, pushing for stricter immigration controls and more Australia First policies. In the 2025 federal elections, public opinion played a huge role. Surveys showed that over 60% of Australians supported reducing immigration levels, especially in major cities. Politicians quickly responded by promising tougher border controls, stricter visa criteria, and a crackdown on abuses of the system, and now they're delivering. Even centrist and traditionally pro-immigration parties are walking a fine line, balancing the need for skilled migration with the demands of their voter base. The conversation around immigration is no longer just economic, it's also emotional and symbolic. For many Australians, it's about national identity, social cohesion, and the fear of being left behind in a rapidly changing society. This shift has made the entire immigration system more politically sensitive. Policies are no longer just based on labour market data or demographic projections. They're being shaped by poll numbers, media narratives, and electoral pressure. As a result, immigration policy is now less predictable and more reactive. A single news story or public backlash can lead to sudden policy changes that affect thousands overnight. So if you're planning a future in Australia, understanding the political wins is just as important as understanding the visa rules, because in today's climate, public opinion can change everything. Number 6. Pressure on social services. As Australia's population has grown rapidly over the past decade, so has the demand on its social services, and it's starting to show cracks. With immigration contributing significantly to this population boom, the country's healthcare, education, and welfare systems are now under intense strain. Let's take Medicare, Australia's public healthcare system. Once known for its efficiency and accessibility, it's now buckling under pressure. Hospital wait times have increased, GP appointments are harder to get, and bulk billing is declining. Many locals are growing frustrated, feeling that the system is overloaded and resources are stretched too thin. Then there's the education sector. Public schools in fast-growing suburbs are overcrowded, teachers are in short supply, and classrooms are bursting at the seams. Parents and educators alike are calling for relief, and many point to high migration rates as a contributing factor. In aged care, a sector already dealing with an aging population, the influx of new residents adds another layer of complexity. More people means more demand for services, but without a proportional increase in funding and infrastructure, the system struggles to keep up. Social housing is also a major concern. With rental prices soaring and low-income Australians on long waiting lists, the public perception is that migrants are competing for the same limited resources. This fuels resentment, which spills over into public discourse and influences political decisions. The government's response? A push to rebalance migration by slowing intake and focusing on quality over quantity. They argue that this will help ease the burden and give social services a chance to catch up. In the end, it's a delicate balancing act, welcoming newcomers while still ensuring that those already here aren't left behind. Number 5. Job market saturation. One of the growing concerns tied to immigration in Australia is the issue of job market saturation, especially in entry-level, part-time and low-skill sectors. While migration has long been promoted as a way to fill labour shortages, the reality on the ground tells a more complicated story. In recent years, a surge in international students and temporary visa holders has led to intense competition for the same types of jobs: hospitality, retail, cleaning, delivery services, and other gig economy roles. With so many people applying for limited positions, employers can afford to be selective, or worse, offer lower wages, knowing there's always someone desperate enough to take the job. This kind of oversupply leads to underemployment and wage suppression, not just for migrants, but for local Australians as well. According to a 2024 Labor report, international graduates face an unemployment rate that's 15% higher than their domestic counterparts, even after spending years and thousands of dollars on education. In sectors like construction and health, where Australia still needs skilled workers, the demand remains high. But in general roles, the market is crowded, and newcomers are often stuck in a cycle of unstable work, unable to move up or qualify for permanent residency. This growing pressure is not just economic, it's emotional. Many young people feel like their dream of a better life in Australia is slipping away, despite following all the rules. In response, the government is tightening visa criteria, particularly for courses and occupations that don't lead to in-demand roles. The goal is to align migration more closely with actual workforce needs. For migrants, this means being strategic is more important than ever. The jobs are still out there, but they're no longer available to just anyone with a visa and a willingness to work. Number 4. Exploitation of the student visa system. Australia has long been a top destination for international students, thanks to its world-class universities and the attractive pathway from education to permanent residency. But in recent years, this once celebrated system has come under fire for being exploited and abused, turning what should be a genuine academic experience into a backdoor migration loophole. Many students aren't coming to Australia primarily for education. Instead, they use the student visa as a way to gain entry into the country, work part-time jobs, and later transition to other visa types, sometimes with the help of dodgy migration agents or unregulated education providers. Some so-called colleges have become visa mills, offering low-quality or even fake courses that exist solely to keep students enrolled long enough to maintain legal status. Meanwhile, students are often overworked in under-the-table jobs, underpaid, and vulnerable to exploitation, with little protection or oversight. This misuse has caused serious concern for both immigration authorities and the education sector. It undermines the credibility of Australia's education system, clogs up visa processing, and takes away spots from genuine students who want to study and contribute meaningfully. To crack down on this, the Australian government has rolled out tougher student visa rules in 2025. These include more stringent financial checks, English language proficiency requirements, and scrutiny of course selections to ensure they align with the country's skilled migration needs. What this means is simple. The student visa is no longer an easy ticket in. Only those with a clear academic plan, genuine financial backing, and a relevant career path will stand a chance. Australia is making it clear, education should be for learning, not for loopholes. Number 3. Unsustainable population growth. Australia's population has been growing faster than ever, and for the first time in decades, it's starting to feel like too much, too fast. As of 2025, the country has surpassed 27 million people, a milestone that came years earlier than expected, driven largely by high levels of immigration. While population growth can bring economic benefits, it also brings serious challenges, especially when the country's infrastructure, housing, and public services can't keep up. Urban planners, economists, and environmentalists are now sounding the alarm. Australia's current rate of growth is not sustainable. Cities like Sydney and Melbourne are already struggling. Roads are congested, public transport systems are overcrowded, and essential services are stretched to their limits. Meanwhile, outer suburbs are expanding rapidly, but lack proper schools, hospitals, and transport links, leaving new residents isolated and underserved. But it's not just about logistics. Rapid growth also puts pressure on the environment. Water resources are limited, biodiversity is under threat, and urban sprawl is eating into farmland and natural habitats. As climate concerns rise, many experts argue that population control must become part of the sustainability conversation. The government has taken notice. In its new migration strategy, there's a clear shift toward reducing net migration and focusing on quality over quantity. It's about slowing things down, not to stop growth altogether, but to make sure it's better managed and balanced. For migrants, this means higher competition, fewer visa places, and more selective policies. Simply wanting to live in Australia is no longer enough. You'll need to show how your presence aligns with the country's long-term vision. In a country facing mounting pressure, the message is clear. Growth for growth's sake is no longer the goal. Sustainability is. Number 2, strain on infrastructure. As Australia's population has surged, largely driven by high immigration levels, its infrastructure is feeling the heat. Roads, trains, hospitals, and schools were not designed to handle such rapid growth, and now the system is buckling under the pressure. In major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, daily commutes have become a nightmare. Traffic congestion is at an all-time high, with some commuters spending over 90 minutes each way just to get to work. Public transport networks are overcrowded, with delayed trains and buses unable to keep up with demand. Hospitals are facing a similar crisis. Emergency rooms are packed, waiting times are increasing, and health professionals are burning out. Even getting a basic GP appointment can take weeks in some areas. The same goes for schools. Many public institutions are over-enrolled, forcing kids into temporary classrooms or long commutes to schools outside their catchment. The problem isn't just the number of people, it's the pace of growth. Infrastructure takes years to plan and build, but the population has been growing faster than projections, leaving cities constantly playing catch-up. Regional areas face their own issues. While the government is trying to redirect migrants to these areas, many lack basic services, public transport, or job opportunities, making it hard for newcomers to settle successfully. As frustration grows, public sentiment is shifting, and infrastructure has become a hot-button issue in national politics. Many Australians now believe that the immigration intake should be reduced until infrastructure catches up with demand. In response, the government is recalibrating its migration strategy to prioritise sustainability, planning for fewer people in crowded cities, and more balanced growth nationwide. Because in the end, a strong country isn't just built by numbers, it's built on a foundation that can actually support them. Number 1, housing crisis. At the heart of Australia's immigration rethink lies one of its most pressing and emotional issues, the housing crisis. For millions of Australians, the dream of owning a home is slipping out of reach, and skyrocketing rents are putting enormous pressure on families, students, and low-income earners. In cities like Sydney and Melbourne, rental prices have surged by over 30% in just the past 2 years. Vacancy rates are at record lows, meaning competition for available homes is fierce. People are lining up for inspections, offering above-market rents, and still walking away empty-handed. But what's fueling this crisis? While there are many factors, such as land scarcity, construction delays, and rising interest rates, one of the most controversial is the role of high immigration levels. As more people enter the country each year, the demand for housing continues to outpace supply, especially in urban areas. Builders and developers simply can't keep up. It takes years to approve and construct new housing projects, and in the meantime, both citizens and new migrants are left competing for the same limited stock. This leads to frustration, resentment, and growing public pressure on the government to act. In response, Australia's 2025 migration strategy includes a significant reduction in permanent and temporary visas, with a specific focus on slowing the influx into major housing markets. The goal is to ease demand, give the housing sector time to catch up, and make living in Australia more affordable for everyone, migrants and locals alike. For those considering a move to Australia, this means facing a much tighter housing landscape, where affordability and availability can no longer be taken for granted. The message is loud and clear. Until the housing crisis is under control, immigration will be slowed to match what the country can realistically support. If you're still with us, you're part of a story that's unfolding in real time. Let us know where you're watching from. We read every note, every place, every voice. And if any part of this resonated with you, just pause and share that thought below. Subscribe if you'd like to walk with us through what comes next.